Dudes, it's another beautiful day on Mars. It's Saturday here, so I've got some time to play. I've got some other things I want to do today, but first, I want to tell you where I am at. All right, so in our last episode, mission success, got the ice from the near ice field, and we're going to need to get to the far ice field. So it starts with some more fuel. Needed some more fuel, so I made some more fuel, and that fuel it wants to be cold, I believe, and it wants to be liquid, as Poet pointed out, but that's another project, and I got so many projects. So you can see here it's 20.4. I stole a YouTube build and built a phase change evaporation and cooling thingy that cools the gas. It really does. Watch. Let's watch. 20.4, and it's getting warmer. 20.3. Why is that? The thing works. I know it works. There it goes. 20.4. Come on. Come on. I know you can do it. I've seen you do it. What now? What's that beep on my phone? What's broken now? It takes the stable. This is my stable tank, my ballast tank, which is nothing more than some Martian atmosphere that I pumped into it. And it radiates off its heat, so that's nice. It's pretty stable. And we got the liquid pipe, which is getting colder, so that's good. And you notice it's got it's evaporating. It's evaporating in the condensation chamber, the evaporation chamber. It's evaporating in the evaporation chamber and making its gas warmer. And then that gas goes into this pipe and gets colder. See, it gets colder, minus 20.6. So it could be improved, but I got what I need to get the fuel cold enough to use. So that's nice. We don't need this on because we have problems. Right. So it also occurred to me to get to the far ice field and to just have general stability, we could add another tank in here easily enough. I think the rocket would have to be bigger. There is some void space up here, so maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, that is that project. You can see here that my my batteries are dying, or rather you'll see it. And what's the solution to batteries dying? More power. And how do we get more power? We could add more windmills or more solar panels, both of which sound pretty boring to me, especially having built as many as I did. But we could. And then we could also pray for a storm. I think I showed this last time. Storm start. When a storm comes through, those windmills blow like crazy, and the batteries will recharge very quickly. So we could pray for a storm, or we could cheat in the storm. Boring. All right. So then let's go inside. So there's a couple of projects, or there's a project is make more power from solar. And we need to get to the ice field, but that is a project. And then there's another project, another key critical project. I put back in my airlock, you'll see why in a minute. See See that? That is fail. That is fail. And right now my dudes are scrambling for... Oh no, that's not fail. That's just me harvesting the plant. But there's logic in here to watch for plant failure. And if a plant fails, then we go into a panic mode where we're not going to produce potatoes for the win, and we're not going to produce potatoes for the fertilizer. We're going to immediately react and take the proceeds from one and put it in the other. And it works just fine. It works just fine. If a crop fails, or if a device fails, it'll go get and fix it. And if 3 devices failed, it'll fix the first one, and then those 2 will grow, and then it'll fix the next one, and we're just fine. But we're not prepared in the code to handle if all 4 fail. And we've talked about this. All 4 could fail if they get bad genetics and get all sensitive about the temperature or the pressure or the light. It seems like I was afraid that the genetics pass on, and it doesn't seem like that's really the case. This guy wants 19 to 30 for the temperature, 17 to 36, 19 to 35, which is just about the same setting, just about the same genetics. 19 to 30, there it is. No variance between that one and that one. So it seems like the genetics don't pass from father to son indefinitely, but instead something's going to be off from the baseline on each potato. Let's look at pressure. 43 to 190, 44 to 150, 45 to 96. He's a little fragile. 43 to 160 is just about the same as 44 to 150. So you can see that these things get tweaked a little bit, but then they go back. So what I really need, or what would have to happen, is a really bad hand where all 4 of them get whack on some specification that we don't generally meet, and holy cow, it's cold in here, 19. And all 4 of them die, and then we're toast. And that did happen once. I came in here, I'm like, yep, ticking away, let's go see the win potatoes, except, oh no, all 4 trays are dead. Which is mission failure in a big way. And so I added in the oh shit shoots. There are 4 seeds in here, sufficient to deal a brand new hand in the event that we get skunked. So I got the 4 shoots in there, and the project will look like, I've got code, I'm not sure it works properly, code in here to say, you know what, if all 4 fail, just stop with the master plan, and I'll kick into some alternate ICs that have a different mission. The mission being, use these shoots to put 4 seeds down, and then when the spuds grow, grab seeds and put them back in the shoots for the next disaster, right? So that'll be big fun. That's a project. That is a project. Mining the space ice is a project. We haven't ever collected oxygen ice from the far ice field. It shouldn't be a big deal. And any amount of rocket programming needs to get coded to automate that cycle of go get volatile ice or oxygen ice. And of course, then that same code, go and get either iron or coal, right? So there's a whole chain of use space to keep the resources on the base required to make the steel cans. Then there's a whole project of, I don't know where it went exactly. There's a project of take the space rocks into a centrifuge and produce the actual ore that can be smelted. And we'll probably use a gas-powered centrifuge. We'll use a combustion centrifuge, which is way more interesting than the standard centrifuge, where you put stuff in and out, stuff comes out. I mean, there's no question. For the space rocks, that's what we're going to do. For the space ice, you use a standard centrifuge, which immediately starts emitting the gas. When it gets gas, it just immediately starts emitting. When it gets a space ice rock, it immediately starts emitting the gases from that rock, which are the key gas, either volatile or oxygen, plus pollutants, plus CO2. It was a big mess. It really will be interesting to melt that ice or grind that ice in a centrifuge and extract the gas that we want, discard the gas we don't, and then it'll go into the fuel mixer, which needs to be cooled programmatically. There's a whole project there. But remember I told you that my base is dying, or my base does not have enough power. So the project at hand, the project at hand is produce a lot more power. And to do that, I had to depressurize my base to rebuild it to get the piping right for this puppy, the gas fuel generator, which is the answer to all my problems. It requires a specific range of temperature and pressure, which happen to be met right at this moment. And it's going to dump its joy into this battery. Come on. It's producing right at the moment 7 whole kilowatts, which is good. We're going to do better than that. It's producing 7 kilowatts, and it's throwing off heat, and requiring its pressure, burning a tiny bit of fuel, charging that battery, which I had to prime. Maybe I didn't have to show you this. I had to prime this battery because it only gets power from that battery. I've got all this fancy circuitry and stuff, which we'll get to. So yeah, so it'll run indefinitely, as long as we're talking about, as long as we're talking about this giant space of my big barn as the ballast, or as the control on the temperature, which will go up, and the pressure, which will go up. Does it go up when it gets hotter, or down when it gets hotter? You'd think I'd know this. I mean, how many days have I played this? How many touch the bobblehead for luck, speaking of. Played for a long time. You'd think I'd know. Right now we want to juice this from 0.1 to 0.15. Be great. Right? Yeah. Juice that up a little bit and make even more power, which right now doesn't go anywhere. It just feeds that battery. I can put it on this circuit anytime I want, put it into the plant. Right now I just want to keep that battery at a good place. So I had to depressurize my house to get those pipes in. And what's it doing? 10. Whoa, went from 7 to 10. This is charging. There's no question my mind is charging, but let's just see it. Charge is going up. So my house is at a pressure that works nicely for this generator. Over time, it's going to get too hot. That's what's going to happen. And right now, too hot is not my problem in my house. My problem is it's a little bit cold. And the biggest problem is that I don't want to operate at 37. My suit is still running because the pressure is not good enough. So I really want to pressurize my house. I really want to do that. I want to make the airlocks cycle faster. I got all kinds of stuff. But right now, I think what I want to do is focus on gas-fueled generator, focus on a hermetically sealed environment for gas-fueled generator. And now we would expect the temperature to go up quite a bit faster. It's fine. Let's see if we can get the max output, which I believe, if the web pages are right, you should be able to get 14 kilowatts out of this mix of gas that I'm using. Tiny sips of this gas that I'm using. You know what? Let's just go nuts at 2.5. Because we're going to make free gas. Ooh, we're going to make GD power. It's still running, even at 31. 173, 17 kilowatts. Is that what that means? Can't be, because this thing isn't charging very much. Temperature going up, pressure going up. At some point, this is going to get out of range. And it will stop. I think it's 50. I think it's, the pressure's just fine, but I think the temperature, once it hits 50, will stop. Let's just give it a minute and see. Well, we'll know when it stops because we'll come in and see it stopped. And so what I've got in there, it might be ill-advised, is a powered vent. Yeah, you make these vents in a bender vent. Powered vent. I don't know why that battery's not filling faster at good generation velocity. Alright, so we probably will want to reference this powered vent. Oh, it stopped. It got too hot. We're probably going to want to reference this powered vent to get its parameters, screwdriver, and some simple pipe. screwdriver behind. Welding torch on plastic sheets. Thank you, simple pipe. Plastic sheets, welding torch. Enough cheating. All right, so this has some parameters. I know that it does. Pressure external. I mean, look at it. How do we set it? I'm gonna have to Google. External pressure set to 101 kPa. Pressure external. What pressure should we get to? 101. Pressure external. So what we need to do, simply, make sure that's off. All we got to do is coolant fan, D-fan in. So that code that I'm not deleting up there handles properly. Slaving the switch. Had to take a couple runs of even something so simple. It loads if the generator's on and sets the switch accordingly. So if the generator's on, then it opens the switch, and if not, then it closes. Then it closes. Then it reads up the position that you've set the switch to and tries to set the generator to that position. So what we get here with this is you click it and the generator tries to turn on. And if it can, then it'll turn on until it can't anymore, and then it closes the switch. So we can give it a little bump anytime we want, and we can start it whenever we want. And look, it produces some power. Nice. I really want that. I really don't want that so low. So I'm just gonna put this wider here for a minute until that stops flashing, or let's get it up a couple. Okay, so then after the slave is, or the switch is slaved, set D-fan in, pressure external, between 5 and 50. No. Yes. No. Yeah, never drive the fan if the pressure gets above, or don't allow it to ever pressurize the thing. There we go. Don't allow it to ever pressurize the thing more than 50. Does that make sense? Because what we have in here, we've got bring in coolant, because temperature is going to be a thing. Bring in the coolant whenever it gets too hot. That's what we want. And then we have that passive vent there wired to a output, which is called D-room out. Room out. So we want to run that thing when the pressure gets above some number, right? The web page is explicit about the target temperature, 5 to 55 Celsius. The out vent needs to fire when the pressure gets too high, and we don't know. We know that it has to be 20. We don't really know the maximum kPa that it'll run at. Anyway, you know what? For right now, we're going to want to tweak this. We're going to, I'm just thinking it through. We want to turn the fan on for a moment, bring in some cold air, which will raise the pressure. Temperature ranging between 5 and 55. All right, well, sorry guys. Load the load X with D room, which is the D room is the gas sensor. Load the temperature from the gas sensor and if it's if it's greater than the narrow range of 278 to 328. Well, right now we're way too hot, so I'm going to say 300. X is 300, then go back to the loop. Don't do anything. Or, and when we get down to something possible, what we don't want to do, it's way too hot right now, right at this moment. What we don't want to do is freeze out the, no, we can freeze out the room because we can just kick it. 310, 290 is our range. Otherwise, turn the fan on for just a moment and then turn it off. Let's try it. I know we're going to want to mess with this, but that's the rudimentary start of what we're trying to do. I think it'll be okay. Let's try it. Little puff at all. 52, 59.2. That's a lot. Oh no, we overfilled the battery. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Turn it on for just a second, you stupid. Code's right. I mean, the control's right. Feels right. Turn it on for a little bit longer. It's not. Nah. This is not right. $332. Greater than 332. Does that even make any sense? No. Cool the thing until we get too cold. turn it off. Don't need any sleep. This doesn't mean anything. There it goes. It's going to cool the room down. Why is the temperature going up? Why is the temperature going up? Pretty sure that fan is in the right mode. We can confirm that easily enough by running all the way outside. That box needs to be small. I know that we don't want a tremendous amount of variance, and the way we do that is by keeping that box small. This pipe is full of only, come on, very cold nitrogen. Plenty of very cold nitrogen is what we're using in that fan. So why the hell, if we're pumping very cold nitrogen into the box, would the temperature be going up? Makes no sense, does it? Makes no sense to me. Maybe you understand it. It's absolutely not pumping the random gas that's in there back out onto my coolant pipe, so that's nice. It's blowing right against the generator, which could be presumed to be hot. And would tell the sensor perhaps the room is heating, because no, it's not taking heat from the generator. That wouldn't make sense, would it? Pressurizing little house. And the temperature is going up, even as we're pushing cold air into the room. What the? Oh boy, this is basic stuff, man. This is not fine-grained temperature control. This is atmospherics 101 crap. Let's think about it. If you know the answer, just shout it out. Well, we're not well served by the current state of affairs. Small room, low pressure. What could account for this, boys? Huh. I mean, I could go on to the next thing, but it doesn't make any sense. That part doesn't make any sense, so there's no point in continuing until that side of it starts to make sense. And the other side of it, let's just go make sure we know what we know. The other side of it, that's the fuel in. This is the pressure out, which we'll get to. And this is, in case things go badly, I can reset it by bringing some more pressure, bring some more gas in at a nice 8.59 Celsius to repressurize this room if I want to evacuate it, or if this goes badly, which it probably will, based on my confusion of how this game works. What the heck? Well, just intolerable. I know this is draining my batteries, and I know I've got any number of little devices that are on that side of this that steal power. Some as useless as these lights, some as important as the potato operation. You know, I've got some drain. I need some power. I don't have a lot of drain. Oh, look, now my whole base. This means my whole base is dying because everything internal, like the potatoes and everything else, drives from this battery. The batteries outside are just buffer, as will be this battery, which I'm not stealing any power for. You know, do I need to consume 5 or 10 watts with this battery charger on all the time? No. But so what? To my way of thinking, the temperature should not be changing in there at all right now. The temperature should not be changing in there at all right now. Well, as long as we've got let's try this. As long as we've got a very big barn to work with that isn't right. Let's go ahead and dump that temp into the big barn until it stabilizes. And again, to my way of thinking, if we've got a pipe and it's full of cold stuff, when I turn this fan on, it won't be immediate, but my barn will start to cool, right? Right? And especially if I open it up. There we go. 24.4 is measured right there. Turn on, stupid. Oh, our threshold. Our threshold was met. Let's keep going with 290, but for now, these are. This is turn the fan off all the time. Hard code. Set outward. That's what we're watching. And instead we want to see the actual, is it on or not button. Set outward. No, we don't want to set outward. We want to keep it as inward. Because we don't want to blow our random shit into the pipe. We want it to take it out of the pipe. It's like it's not doing anything. What does it say when you put your 1 MPa? That's perfect. Inwards, very limited. Inwards, very limited. Pressure close to external target. In what universe? Inwards. Very close to external target. Yes, inwards. This thing ain't working at all. I really don't want to flip that switch. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do, stupid. Boy, I got myself in trouble on the chat forum. On the Discord, I got myself in good trouble. I said, this game is stupid. And I was salty about my rocket blowing up. And I thought someone would say, haha, no, you're stupid. And instead, more than one person jumped on me with, the game's not stupid. Why would you say it's stupid? Which wasn't so cool. Okay, so we're going to put random into this pipe for 1 minute. And then later, we're going to want to evacuate it. Which, if anything's working at all, won't be a problem. I simply want to prove to my own self that the directional pressure, or the direction switch, is proper. It has to be. It has to be proper. $666. The fan doing stupid shit. Oops. Gonna probably need that in just a second. The fan doing stupid shit. With the direction set wrong. Set inward. Set inward. No, click it to set inward. It's going to blow outward. What the heck? The temperature is going up. How's the temperature going up? Well, it did empty that pipe. So that's nice. We got this set properly. Again, I'm just like floored this morning how little I understand of this game. The temperature's going up in the big barn because it was equalizing, I think. Okay, well, good. That's great. That's progress. You remember when I started this podcast or this video cast? I said, against my better judgment, I'm going to go ahead and share my play, even though I suck. Well, here we are, boys. Here we are. It's cool. I don't mind. I don't mind sharing my failures and successes. Sometimes I have some successes. And I also said that. I'm not very good, but I'll get there. Hundreds of hours. Okay. Now, what should happen is the pressure is going to go up and the temperature is going to go down to 95 to a set point of 290. Just picked it random almost. Hey, yay! Look at that. Oh my goodness, let's take a break and celebrate. Cut the video with a high five and a thumbs up and arms up. Yay! Okay, so great. Now the temperature is too cold to run, but we can juice it. But first, no, pressure external is not going to control how hard that thing blows. And the reason I used a giant one instead of little ones is because on the internet it seemed like what they were saying was one little one is too small. So let's use a big one. Let's see if we can't get a big one to work. Fan in on 0. Not even sure what that's buying this. Power low. Load the temperature, and when we hit the cold spot, stop pumping. Otherwise, click it for just a tiny moment. One tick probably won't be enough to get it to turn on at all. And then turn it off. Just a little bump. Maybe. All right, so it's too cold to stay on, but it should run for a moment. And heat up the room. Wow, look at that. All right, so the code never says turn it on if it gets too hot. It just says turn it off once you've started, right? Just relax. The code says turn the fan off if it's running and you get too cold. Otherwise, always turn it on for a quick moment. For a quick moment. If we put sleep 1 in here, it'll run too long. It'll run too long and the room will freeze. What is it doing? It's not ever getting there because the room's already too cold. Or the room's too cold right now. The room is too cold right now, I said. Ooh, did you see it? Did you see it hit? I saw it hit. Boom. Could it be that simple? It could be. It isn't, but it could be. Off, I said. All right. That is beautiful. We are not failing entirely. Yay. I could make this task easier, but it won't have to be done over and over. I want to dump that battery onto the grid. That's it. No, it's not, but that's good enough. That's going to get our capacity to a place where we can see this thing do something. 173. What is 173? Is it 17 kilowatts? I don't think so. Is it 1.7 kilowatts? Very possible. I guess we could measure it. We can measure it directly, although it's just going to be a big number. Okay, so now we got some headroom. Let's measure it. Oh, look at it, it's telling us 30 watts. I think 30 watts is the drain. This web page tells me. I'm looking at this web page. Or is it? Base usage 30 watts. Yeah, so it's drawing. That's what it's telling me, is it's drawing 30 watts to do its thing. And it's not really telling me power out. I've got power out on this graph. Well, the thing to do was to just go juice the fuel in a little bit more. Temperature going up, but we've got seem to have a good control on that. What we don't have is any relief on the pressure. If we keep doing what we're doing, eventually this box will explode. I built it out of reinforced steel and stuff, so we can run the pressure up really high. But we got to have code in there to run the depressurizer before it explodes, which it will explode at 1 MPa, 1000. And when we add that code and not hammer the temperature so low that it won't keep going, I think will be great. So I'm coming out here. To tweak that, that's right. This is off. And not, I was surprised that it wouldn't tell me. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this up to 10. 10 tiny kPa, which will use up our fuel faster. Our fuel, we have so much of it. We've got 4 MPa on the tank. We've got 7.66 kmols of volatile. We have a bunch. We're going to have a bunch more someday. 10 whole. I wish I understood the scale on that graph. So let's just check this box off. So you can't read directly the power output onto a graph. You can't read directly the power output onto a graph. So instead, I've got code here that says, I had to ask about this, get the power generation and then put it on a memory chip, and then have the memory chip have the graph be based on the memory chip, which works beautifully. All right, well, let's see what the number is. Let's see what the number is, boys. How could it be less? No, it was 173. Now it's 692. Is that 6 kilowatts? He continues to ask the same question over and over. It's got to be kilowatts. It's got to be 6.9 kilowatts. Right? Well, let's go ahead and, regardless of how, the important thing is managing the temperature and pressure. So let's go ahead and manage the pressure once. Off, I said. Do what you're going to do with the switch. Do what you're going to do with the cooling fan. Which I don't have to make any adjustments for right now. It's working just the way we want. Then why is it still showing temperature? pressure, 705. If the pressure volume pump isn't as sensitive as the giant fan. Look at branch less than 400. Branch greater than 400. Right? If the pressure is greater than 400, then turn it on. And if it's less than or equal to 400, then turn it off. Easy money, one would hope. Then again, if it doesn't work, I won't be shocked. So it's going to slowly pump this down to 630. To 666. The volume pump may not be strong enough. I guess we'll see. And then stop. There's no way it's strong enough. And the numbers are terrible. There's no way it's strong enough. This doodly, though, did what we wanted, which was give us a clue about the name of pressure external. So that's good. We got what we wanted from that pup. Don't need it anymore. How do we get rid of it? With an angle grinder. And a wrench. And a hand drill. That safety is going to not be a problem because we're only at 2 kPa at Mars atmosphere, so that's good. Oh no! What? What? $99 MPa. Oh no, kill that bad code quick. Quick. Too late. Don't care so much. How the F wasn't that emptying? It's just a volume pump. Why wouldn't that pipe empty into this frickin' passive vent? Makes no sense. That makes zero sense. Does it? It's very possible that I got this on backward. Look at that. So stupid. Just so lame, Quasar. I am the worst. When it's time to empty, when we say it's time to empty, we want this maxed out. You know what it is? I didn't touch the bobblehead lately. All right, stupid. Boy, but that pressure will go down a lot better now. Look at it drop. Still not so fast. It could very well be that I'm going to want that good pressurized vent on the end of this and not a volume pump. Now what? Why won't it fire at all? Is my code stupid? Probably. Slave the switch in the GPG. If you ever find that the temperature's wrong, fix it. If you ever find the pressure's wrong, fix it. And then go do that very same thing again. Which is clearly happening because it's flipping the switch over and over. Or flipping it back as I flip it. This should start for a moment. The way it is starting for a moment, and then it's saying no. And it's saying no because it's... Why is it saying no? Minimum pressure of 20. 5 to 55. We didn't blow out the fuel. Right? Fuel's fine. We panicked and turned this off. Watching the pressure here. Watching the pressure skyrocket. Let's just vent that thing properly, shall we? Because as long as it's 20, we're good. As long as it's over 20. So we can set the set point wherever, just so it doesn't blow out the box. And we can set the... low point higher than 20. And we can set the high point so it doesn't blow out the box. You are useless. And you are likewise not sufficient for the task. But instead, we need some pipes. And we want to wire this. Gonna need some wire. Gonna need to build this with the plastic sheets and the welder, screwdriver, and kit pipe. Pipes, low on wire. How's your day going? How's your Saturday? My Saturday's good. I kind of made an ass of myself on YouTube, but what's new? Feel like I'm forgetting something. I could just call this flail good enough and put on some tunage, but you want to see this come together. I know you do. That's why you tuned in. And then some wire. Need to be able to control it and power it. Let's give it a name. Let's call it pressure, exhaust pressure, so that it looks different. And then, what's in there right now? Let's set the mode right. There is a tiny amount of random. Because there was a passive vent on it. Yeah. And it quickly evacuates that pipe. It doesn't seem terribly strong, but it's stronger than it was. And the good news is it's the same size thing as the thing on the inside, so we should be all right. outwards is very limited. Increase output, pipe network capacity or pressure. Yeah, it's saying I can't do much with 93 kPa. When we get up closer to 1 MPa, then it should stop complaining about that. Wonderful. And this thing's saying, I don't know what a pressure exhaust is anymore. And that's because you should be using exhaust pressure to lower the pressure. Why is it so low? I don't know. We're in range for operations. Temp going up, pressure bouncing around just a little bit. Oh, it's getting warmer. Boom. Then it got colder. The pressure went up to 140. $184. What was our set point for the pressure? Do you remember? $200. Oh, it's above 200. Get it down, get it down. So it does. Boys, I think we got it. I think it's just about the tuning. The pressure seems to be staying in range. The temperature seems to be staying in range. There is power being generated, not maybe a lot, but there is. I think it's down to the tuning, and I think that the numbers that we're using for temperature and pressure are reasonable. Again, I built this box strong enough that the pressure could be a lot higher, which would average out the temperatures better. But my concern is not at this point so much about burning too much nitrogen, because that's easy to make, although it's a third kind of ice that I'd have to pull from space if I was really going to role play this thing. My concern is the fuel, because we need the fuel for the rocket, and the smelting. So we want to really focus on optimizing our fuel usage. And I think we're in a pretty good place to do that. Let's just let this run. What's the worst that can happen? This battery will never charge because it's so... But that's what we're going to fix. That is what we're going to fix. We want to optimize our performance. We're using a nice mix of fuel. 6633, perfect. On the thing we called fuel in, which has a setting of 10 right now, right? I mean, that's what it said, setting 10. kPa. So we can vary that and get different performance and perhaps find optimal performance. There's a big old web page on this thing. Let's go ahead and inject into our plan. It's almost warm enough in my house to take my helmet off. Load into X. D fuel pump setting. We'll use it for something else right now. This is perfect. Ten kPa. Wish I had put this down one so I could read it a little bit better, but it says 692. So what if we instead set the fuel pump setting to 15? Did the number go up or down? It's got to go up. More fuel, more power. Oh, look at that. Nice jump. Does it help to set it to 25? Of course it does. It would make sense. 6917, 6,917, 6.9 kilowatts. Would only make sense. With the standard fuel mix, it says on the web page, you can get up to 14. Oh, look, our test battery's full. That didn't help. It didn't. Why are we only getting 7,000? All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and drain our test battery, our primary battery, primary fuel gen battery, PFGB. We can't see from in here. Uh-oh, I hear some people have arrived in my house. And this has been plenty long. How long's it been? Hour and a half? Wow. Well, I hope this has been entertaining. I hope that the entertainment isn't derisive. Hey, I got it to work, didn't I? Should have left that open for a while longer. $6,000. I thought we had it better than 6,000. I know we had it better than 6,000. No, 6,917. That was our number. Plenty of headroom to know that we're throwing our power into something great. with more fuel comes more success, except it doesn't. And again, my understanding is that colder fuel will make better power. Better power for the rocket and better power for the generator. So maybe that's what I'll do. That's a great place to end it, is go ahead and use this thing. Go ahead and plug this in and then stop unplugging it. And then fool around with the temperature of the power. And the temperature of the fuel, and see how it goes. And or something else. Let the record show when I left it was 20. It only goes down to 25. I don't think this gets it any colder than 25. The way it's built right now. That was my goal. Hey, Rob, how are you? Hey, let me get done here. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye. Now I'm going to put on the YouTube. Bump out the tunes. Do 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 do.